First story, whispers behind Sycamore Lane. I never believed in the whole haunted neighborhood thing. Growing up in Fairview, a small suburban town in upstate New York, life was predictably boring. Cookie-cutter houses, neat lawns, nosy neighbors. It was the kind of place horror stories avoided. At least that's what I thought before I moved into 34 Sycamore Lane. My wife Mia and I had just gotten married when we bought the place. It was cheap. Too cheap, the kind of deal that made you ignore the creaky floors, the heavy smell of cedar that never left, and the cold spots in the upstairs hallway. The neighbors smiled too wide when we moved in. The way they watched us from behind half-drawn curtains, something about it all was off. It started small. Our dog Benny would bark at the attic stairs every night at exactly 2:47 a.m., no matter what. The first few nights, I brushed it off, just dog stuff. But then came the voices. They were quiet at first, barely whispers. I thought it was the wind sliding through the old vents, but I heard my name, always my name. Ryan, low, drawn out, like someone dragging their breath through mud. One night, I woke up to find Mia standing at the foot of our bed, her eyes locked on the ceiling. "Do you hear them?" she whispered. I didn't respond. My mouth went dry, because I did hear them. That night, I followed the sound to the attic. I should have never opened that door. The attic was pitch black, though I swear I had installed a light bulb a week earlier. The air was thick, not dusty, thick, like walking into a wet blanket. As my eyes adjusted, I saw something scrawled along the wall in what looked like charcoal. "She's not yours?" I didn't tell Mia. I just cleaned it up and pretended it hadn't happened. But then she started to change. Mia became distant, cold. She'd spend hours sitting in the dark nursery we hadn't finished yet. One night, I found her humming a lullaby. The thing is, we didn't have kids. I confronted her, begged her to tell me what was going on. "They said you'd try to stop me," she murmured, smiling at nothing. I left the house that night. Slept in my car outside the Kroger parking lot, thinking maybe she needed help. Maybe we both did. When I came back the next morning, the front door was wide open. Inside, the living room had been completely rearranged, old photos scattered across the floor, furniture flipped, walls covered in jagged lines scratched deep into the paint. And Mia was gone. The police searched for days. They found nothing. No signs of struggle, no leads. Just one thing, a voice captured on the baby monitor in the nursery that had somehow switched itself on. "She belongs here now." They thought I lost my mind. I was the suspect, of course. But they couldn't hold me. No evidence. Just whispers. I moved out of Sycamore Lane after that, tried to forget. But last week, 7 years later, I got a letter. No return address, just a slip of paper inside. "Ryan, she's waiting." The next night, I saw her, standing across the street. Same blue robe, same vacant eyes, just watching. I sold my car, packed a bag, thought I'd disappear, but it didn't matter. They followed. It's 3:06 a.m. Now, Benny's barking again. The power just cut out, and my phone's at 1%. I can hear the attic door creaking open upstairs. But I'm in a motel now. Different town, hundreds of miles away. They found me. If you're hearing this, stay away from Sycamore Lane, from Fairview, from her. She's not gone. She's just waiting. Second story, the last house on Sycamore Lane. It started with a whisper. I was 17 when my mom moved us from Portland to a sleepy suburb outside Spokane, Washington. Our new house sat at the very end of Sycamore Lane, a cracked cul-de-sac with 4 other houses, all quiet, all staring at ours like they knew something we didn't. The house itself was old, painted beige with chipped shutters and a crooked porch light that flickered even when turned off. Mom called it a fresh start. I called it a mistake. It was the second night when I heard it. I was unpacking boxes in my room when a voice, not loud, not angry, just whispered, "Stay out of the attic." I froze. At first I thought it was the wind or maybe Mom watching a video. But when I stepped out into the hall, everything was silent. I asked Mom about it, and she gave me that tired look she'd been perfecting since the divorce. "You're just stressed," she said. I didn't sleep that night. I kept staring at the ceiling, thinking about the attic door right above the hallway light. The next day, I asked around the neighborhood. I met Mrs. Halverson from across the street, widow, 70-something, carried an oxygen tank like it was her purse. "You moved into the Bellamy house?" she asked, voice shaking. "Yeah, why?" She didn't answer at first. She just looked up at it and then whispered, "They were a quiet family too, until they weren't." She told me about the Bellamys, mom, dad, and 2 kids, all gone, vanished 5 years ago, left dinner on the table, keys in the ignition, doors locked from the inside, no bodies, no sign of struggle, just gone. "They were last seen going into the attic," she added before shutting her door. That night, I begged Mom to leave. She refused, said we couldn't afford another move, that I was being dramatic. I didn't tell her the part where I'd heard the whisper again, closer this time. "Don't go up." I didn't plan to, but the attic door kept creaking, even when it was closed. By the 5th night, I started noticing things out of place. The bathroom mirror fogged up with no one inside. I'd find the TV on static, even though no one had turned it on. My phone alarm would ring at exactly 13 a.m. every night, even though I never set it. The whispers grew louder. Sometimes they came from my closet, sometimes from under the bed, always saying the same thing: "Don't go up." So of course I went up. It was a stupid decision. I know that now, but I had to know. The pull cord to the attic ladder felt ice cold, even though it was July. As soon as I opened it, the whisper stopped. Everything did. The world went dead silent. The attic was darker than it should have been. No windows, just the smell, like old wood and rotting meat. I stepped up, one creak, then another. It wasn't empty. There were drawings on the wall, hundreds of them. Childlike sketches in red crayon, all showing the same thing. A door, a black door with no knob. And then I saw it. The door was real. In the far corner of the attic, behind a broken mirror and stacks of boxes. It pulsed, almost like it was breathing. The moment I looked at it, I felt it look back. I turned to run, but the ladder was gone. The attic was sealed shut. The air got heavier, thicker. My skin itched like something was crawling just beneath it. I screamed. No one answered. Then I heard something from the door. Not a whisper this time. A growl. Deep. Ancient. Wrong. The door opened. I don't remember much after that. Just pain. Cold and faces. Dozens of faces, all screaming silently behind a wall of shadows. When I woke up, I was in my bed. Mom said she found me asleep on the couch. I tried to tell her, but nothing came out. My voice was gone. Not like I couldn't speak, like I'd forgotten how. The attic ladder was sealed, painted over, like it had never opened. We moved out 3 weeks later. Mom said the house never felt right. She wouldn't admit it, but I think she saw something too. We live in Idaho now. Things are quiet. But last night, I found something in my closet. A drawing, red crayon, a black door. And just now, I heard a whisper. You let it out. Third story. Whispers Beyond Willow Creek. I never believed in the stories about Willow Creek. It was just another quiet suburb on the edge of Portland, Oregon. All freshly painted fences, well-trimmed lawns, and smiling neighbors who waved but never really looked you in the eyes. My wife and I moved there last fall, hoping to start fresh after a hard year. New job, new house, new everything. But the second week in, things changed. It started with the knocking. Every night at exactly 3:03 a.m., 3 soft knocks echoed from somewhere inside the house. Not at the door, not on the windows. It sounded like it came from inside the walls. At first, I thought it was just the pipes or maybe the house settling. But when I followed the sound, it always led me to the same place, the spare room at the end of the hall, the one we hadn't furnished yet. I opened the door one night, and the knocking stopped instantly. The room was pitch dark. I stepped inside, flicked the light on. Nothing, just an empty room, until I turned around. There was a shape in the hallway, standing still, not moving, not speaking, just there. I blinked. Gone. The next day, I checked the home security cameras. The inside ones showed nothing, but the outside camera, it caught something. At exactly 3:03 a.m., the front door opened by itself. Nothing walked in, just air. And then 3 minutes later, it closed on its own. My wife, Erin, thought I was losing it. Said I was stressed, said I needed sleep. I didn't argue. I didn't want to scare her. But every night, the knocking returned. Always 3 knocks, always from that room. Then I found the crawl space. It was hidden behind a false panel in the spare room closet. I only noticed it because a draft hit my face one night while I was standing there. I pulled back the panel, revealing a short, tight passage that led under the house. I crawled in with a flashlight. The air was thick and cold, like a basement sealed for 100 years. The walls were covered in old carvings, symbols I didn't recognize, etched into the wood with something sharp. And in the far corner, I found a box. It was small, wooden, and sealed with rusted nails. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. Inside was a doll. Not a normal doll. It was hand-stitched, with buttons for eyes and a mouth sewn shut with red thread. Its hands were tied behind its back, and there was a name written on its chest in faded ink. Aaron. I dropped the box and scrambled out of the crawl space, heart racing. Erin wasn't home. She was at her night shift at the hospital. I called her. No answer. I drove straight to the hospital, but the receptionist told me Erin never showed up. She had called in sick. I raced back home. The front door was wide open. Inside, the lights were off. I called for her. No answer, and then I heard it. 3 soft knocks from upstairs. I followed the sound, every step heavier than the last. The knocks came again, louder, from the spare room. I opened the door. The room was still empty, except the doll was lying in the center of the floor. Its mouth was no longer sewn shut, and it was smiling. Then I heard Erin scream. I ran through the house. Nothing. I searched every room, every corner, until I finally collapsed on the floor. My hands were shaking. I called the police. They searched the entire house, the yard, the neighborhood. They found nothing. No signs of forced entry. No trace of Erin. Just the doll. They took it for evidence, but the officer who bagged it never made it back to the station. His car was found crashed into a tree 10 miles from town. The dash cam showed him screaming before the crash, staring at the back seat. It was empty. I haven't slept in days. Erin is still missing. The police have stopped calling me. Neighbors avoid my house. That room stays locked, but I hear it every night. 3:03 a.m., 3 knocks. Always 3 knocks. Last night the knocking started again, but this time it wasn't in the walls. It was at my bedroom door. I stayed in bed, frozen, until the sun came up. When I opened the door, a photo was lying on the floor. It was our wedding picture. But Erin's face was gone, scratched out, burned, erased. Only mine remained, smiling, just like the doll. And now I can hear footsteps upstairs, even though I'm alone. The locks don't work anymore. I tried to move out, packed everything, listed the house. No one wants it. Realtors won't return my calls. I can't leave. And tonight, for the first time, the knocking started at 2:03. It's getting earlier. It's getting closer. And now there's a voice, whispering my name from inside the walls. I think it wants me to open the door, but I know what's on the other side. It's wearing Erin's face.